the next generation of lifestyle awareness that will transform your life significantly. Hi, welcome to Living Wow Out Loud. I'm your host, Callie Ray, founder of the Living Wow Center and author of the book, 8 Lessons Lupus Taught Me, From Surviving to Thriving with Autoimmune Diseases. Living Wow is a lifestyle of choice and intention that was born from the truth that, number one, your body is designed to heal if you give it the environment to do so. Number two, you don't need a label or permission to be the expert in your own body. And number three, more than 80% of all diseases can be prevented or reversed by lifestyle. Unfortunately, this isn't what we're taught in our standard American diet and lifestyle culture. This podcast is a voice of hope and community where you will learn how to live a life of thriving that honors and embraces those three truths. Though you are an individual, you are not alone, and you can thrive living wow too. As I record today's episode, before we get going, I want to apologize for my vocal quality. I'm recovering from a cold, and this is the best it's been all week. And it's time for the podcast, so the show must go on, right? So please bear with me. And here we go. Today, we're going to talk about ignoring your best friend. Last episode, I introduced you to body language and invited you to take on learning the language that your body speaks to you. Did you do your homework? Did you learn to count to 8 in body language? If so, you have a foundational knowledge of the communication environment of your body. Your binge listening and review of the 8 lessons and the 8 systems has created a communication-rich environment for learning. If you haven't done your homework, you can still listen to today's language lesson, but don't expect to become fluent if you don't practice. You must create an environment for learning and practice, or you will never learn a new language. This body language series will build as we go, so if you haven't yet, go back and binge a few hours of listening to get your learning environment primed for communication. 8 Lessons Lupus Taught Me can be found in the bonus episode series, and the 8 Systems Framework to Becoming the Expert in Your Body summer series is found in episodes 13 through 21. So just like your Spanish teacher starts talking to you in Spanish when you enter the classroom, I'm going to immerse you in body language terminology as I teach you how to understand and communicate with your body today. Before we begin to learn vocabulary and translation, it's important to first learn the foundational skills of communication, namely joint attention, turn-taking, and topic maintenance. These foundational skills are required in any communication exchange and may include both verbal and nonverbal components. A breakdown in any of these areas will result in a communication breakdown and either a misunderstanding or the abandonment of the communication exchange altogether. Because they are an essential foundation, let's break them down a little to make sure you are able and willing to be an active and willing communication partner. Let's begin with joint attention. This is often characterized by eye gaze and the speaker and listener attending to the same object or topic. If you don't build the common connection of joint attention, no communication will be exchanged. If a toddler is hungry but no adult attends to his fussing by looking at him and asking what he wants, he will likely get louder in his cries or start seeking out food by going to where it is stored. He doesn't have to have an elaborate vocabulary or even understanding of food and food preparation in order to gain your attention and communicate that he is hungry. What he does have to have is your attention for long enough to communicate the message. Moving the principle of joint attention into body language remains the same. It's not important at this point to have a robust body vocabulary, but rather that you have joint attention, that you recognize that your body is speaking to you and that you attend to it. This is probably the most common area of body language breakdown and is simply a lack of awareness. Much like being in a crowded international airport with many languages spoken, you ignore the languages and signs that you don't speak or understand because it doesn't seem relevant, or you can't understand, so you simply tune it out. Similarly, when your body language speaks fatigue, you ignore it because you don't have time to rest. Your mind's too busy racing with worry about work, kids, and finances. You just justify being tired and grab your cup of coffee or soda to pick you up. No communication occurred because you ignored your body. You didn't recognize the fatigue as a message. If, on the other hand, in the airport scenario, you must find someone to tell you where your gate is for your departure, you will be tuned into anything that you recognize to guide you to the person and the situation to get you on board. You will take the time to sift through the language you don't understand to find what you can to get your needs met. Maybe your body has gotten tired of being ignored, so it's screaming at you in pain, or has protected itself with excess weight or exhaustion. Finally, your body has gotten your attention and you're ready to learn body language so that you can engage in a healthy, connected relationship with your body instead of just a meat suit getting you through this life. Maybe your doctor has said you can't have the surgery to relieve your pain until your A1C is lower. You've tried medications, but they haven't helped, at least not enough. You've tried the fad diets, but couldn't stick with it. Have you tried giving your body the attention it needs to hear what it's trying to tell you? Are you ready to tune out the noise and listen to what your body is telling you? If you listen, it will tell you what it needs. If you learn the language, you can understand the messages. Next is turn taking. So once you're giving your body the attention it's seeking, your next step in communication takes on the reciprocal relationship that it needs. This is where you stop living parallel to your body and begin living in relationship with your body. Structured games are the best way to teach turn taking because it's clear when one turn has ended and the other begins. How do you feel when you're playing a game and you get skipped? Worse yet, when something else takes the attention away from the game and you don't know whose turn it is. How do you feel when you're trying to tell a story and your listener keeps interrupting you? Worse yet, if they're looking at the time or tell you to get to the point. Have you ever been listening to someone and forming your response before they even finish? Are you really listening or just waiting for them to finish so you can say your piece? These are all familiar and common communication breakdowns because turn taking failed. Be a good communicator. Be a good listener. If you are constantly telling your body what to do but not listening to what it's saying back to you, there will, for sure, be a communication breakdown. Maybe it was an obvious breakdown, like a torn ACL, because you were using your body in a way that it couldn't compensate for, and it resulted in an injury. Maybe it was more subtle, like brain fog, because you weren't paying attention to what your body was telling you it needed, so it started shutting down the higher level skills. Sometimes these communication breakdowns occur because of the language barrier, but more often than not, it's because you're doing all of the talking and not taking turns listening. Finally, topic maintenance. Now that you have joint attention and you're taking turns listening and communicating with your body, it's time to go into a more advanced skill of topic maintenance. For effective topic maintenance, you need to have some understanding of basic vocabulary. The more vocabulary you have, the deeper and more accurate your communication will be. This is where the 8 systems framework can be helpful to create an understanding of the topic. And then the 8 lessons Lupus taught me from surviving to thriving can be helpful to apply and take your conversation deeper. It's necessary in any communication exchange to have topic maintenance if you are to get past the superficial level of basic needs or greetings. One-sided communication or superficial communication does not create a healthy relationship. Is it any wonder that as a culture of SAD, the standard American diet and lifestyle, the communication dyad with our bodies has been ignored and lost, resulting in the loss of body language that was widely recognized and understood by ancient civilizations? Your body is innately designed to heal. Health is the natural state of the body. The communication of your body language is the outward physical manifestation of what's happening inward that you cannot see or touch, but you can feel and experience. Now that you have the basics of communication, it's time to start translating. Join me next week as we begin to introduce some core vocabulary of body language so that you can regain the relationship you were born to have with your body. Hey, if you find value here on the Living Wow Out Loud podcast, will you please share it with your friends and take a minute to rate it on the platform that you're listening on? That's how we live wow out loud. You know that more people need hope and they need the messages shared. And that's how we get recognized among all the noise. This is where you find your voice. Will you please share and subscribe and rate so that we can grow? After my personal transformation from surviving to thriving with autoimmune diseases, I was completely astounded that the experience was not what I expected it to be. Instead of resenting my body and being forever trapped with a legacy of bad genes, as I had believed would be my fate, I looked and felt 20 years younger. I had dropped weight that had plagued me for decades, eliminated chronic pain that no doctor, therapy, or medicine could relieve, and found energy that I hadn't had since I was 16 years old. Because this is not what I expected, and because I wish someone would have told me that there is another way than sad, I wrote the book, 8 Lessons Lupus Taught Me from Surviving to Thriving with Autoimmune Diseases. As I began to share the book and the message of change your story, Living Wow was born. After years of continuing to learn and study how and why lifestyle has such an impact on disease and the world being torn apart by a global pandemic, I can't stand by any longer keeping it to myself. You have to understand that the power is in your hands. The power is in your body. The power is in your lifestyle. The Living Wow Center is a holistic wellness practice that utilizes the framework of the Living Wow lifestyle to identify system failures or maintenance needs. Whether you just need a tune-up or a complete systems overhaul, we support you as an individual to get back out on the journey and living wow. We will work with you to determine levels of function, needs, tools, resources, and or providers that may be best equipped to guide you as you step out of the negative health cycle and turn it into a positive health cycle. The Living Wow Center offers a revolutionary, comprehensive approach to healing, coaching, and support that is necessary in our complex, sad world. Schedule your complimentary consultation today to see how Living Wow can support you. Wow, you just finished another episode of Living Wow Out Loud. I hope you leave today empowered to live your best life and thrive. If you're ready to jump in and learn a little bit more about Living Wow, come check out the Living Wow Center. That's LIVINGWOWCENTER.com. And maybe consider joining our next Living Wow Challenge. We run the 1st to the 10th of every single month. See you soon.